Hello. For this week's First Look Weekly we have something special in store for everyone who loves colony sims and also automation. Even though I prefer the top-downs, I didn't mind trying out a more low-poly variant. I always have to get used to graphics like this and played around with the settings a bit since I heard my PC acting up already, but eventually I got it just right. The game is called Dawnapart. The tutorials help you set up and it's quite some text, but anyone who played Dwarf Fortress has no problem with that. And they are very helpful short animations, what to do, so it's quite well done. You start with a few colonists who just landed and they do tell you it is okay to dismantle the landing ship, but obviously it is not okay to me, as all resources can be mined easily in the surrounding area and I like to have an enclosed little base from the start. And first things first, a constructor is needed to make blueprints. Blueprints can be placed freely on the map, for example furnaces and furniture, but as long as the constructor hasn't made them, you cannot place them. Colonists can be ordered to do anything really, and you do not want to overdo the orders as it may easily overwhelm them. You can mine pretty much everything, and that is the great advantage of graphics like these. If you order them to mine a mountain, they simply mine it down block by block. Colonists need food, and you can do that by placing a Mr. Soylent and of course a toilet and a place to wash up. And mining resources is fun but slow, and luckily a small mining drill can help you speed this up. You need a lot of copper for early recipes, but you can also use your first miner to get coal and make coke out of it. This way you don't have to worry about fuel for a while and you can easily make a few more miners afterwards. A spaceport is needed to trade, and some trades are mandatory like lucrum, which is needed to be traded within a certain time frame. Using right click on an item in the storage you can select haul to and then move it to the spaceport. But it first needs a flat landing area surface big enough to fit ships. You can then select a trade request and accept it in order to complete the trade. You can level areas to accomplish this, and this can also make a first crude floor if the leveled area is lower than, for example, the building it was on. But the level area will usually just lower the floor and it is hard to determine which depth it will dig to. Thus, floors become more useful. Trading the lucrum is vitally important to get new colonists. Since lucrum has a quota, it may be wise to wait a bit close to the deadline to give yourself more time to gather the materials. You can set priorities for each colonist depending on their skills, but they can level up each skill when working on it. It's like in Rimworld fashion. Not having the skill at high level is not as punishing as in that game though. Everything needs to be crafted, even simple floors from granite, so your colonists will be spending a lot of time doing that until you can automate it. The crafting system could use some love, as colonists will not make anything that is not first in queue. And you have to delete, for example, floors out of the queue before you can make the granite bricks used for the floors. A bit more intelligence in this system would be nice. All the waving polys can be annoying as well to look at, for example grass and trees. And for a more peaceful gameplay, at least wind can be put to 0, which will probably reduce the graphical load a lot as well. An option to fully disable that would be a wanted addition for many players. Trading the copper will give new fuel cells for the lucrum miner. You can make those yourself in the alchemy lab, but need a reactor as well, starting with a red solvent. This is needed to make a green solvent, and this in turn is needed to make a blue solvent. The tutorial already stopped long ago, but logic will take over. Machines will automatically feed into a conveyor belt, but you will need a feeder to feed it into a storage. You could feed a conveyor belt directly into a furnace, but this disables a lot of automation possibilities, as you cannot add multiple items to the same belt, as it will simply stuck up the furnace if it doesn't need the items. So best just let the conveyor belt pass by machines and use the feeders to add it. So the feeders will be the filter to what the furnace or other machines really need. Having too much resources on a single belt may be a too large strain on the feeder. For example, despite 2 furnaces making copper ingots, the feeder to the storage still couldn't process all the copper due to the miner creating more and other materials running on the same conveyor belt. The save game is a bit intrusive and could be placed as a simple notification somewhere in the corner instead of a massive pop-up, but you can of course extend to set the autosave up to 60 minutes. As you keep growing, more and more unlocks will be available, and you can make separate housing for your colonists, using the carpenter mainly. Also, reaction chambers and assemblers can replace most manual crafting, since a lucrum miner is always needing for more solvent. Despite most devices depicting power, it is not in any way seeming to be required. Feeders are amazing as you can put them on top of everything and even add multiple on a single spot. This also counts for storage, as you can put it on top of nearly everything, but want to keep it connected to other storages. Overall, the game plays very well and doesn't have much issues, but the question remains what the future holds. The quotas put quite a pressure on the player, which could be considered a good drive, but may also create unwanted pressure. You can explore the map by selecting colonist and right click, but there isn't much danger at first. Ruins and old spaceships can be found on the map. The game is not there yet and has many experimental features, but holds great promise for the future. So definitely something to follow or wishlist or already buy on Steam. I thank you for watching and see you next week, where we mine a unique upcoming gem or a hidden release to showcase everything, as we always do on Saturday's First Look Weekly exclusive on Forgotten Games. So subscribe and get notified for your weekly upload.